It's Wednesday, 13th of August, 2025, and in this evening's show, we discuss not just comedy of errors, but a full-blown theatrical performance as Blackpool crashed to an embarrassing 4-1 defeat away at Exeter, performance which Steve Bruce described as his worst at the time at the club. We also review yesterday's equally insipid Carabao Cup first round exit as Blackpool made it 3 defeats in 3, losing 1-0 against Port Vale at Bloomfield Road. I'm John Aspel. This is the Seasiders podcast match reaction show. Exeter 4, Blackpool 1, and Blackpool 0, Port Vale 1. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the stream. Welcome back to the Seasiders podcast on a Wednesday evening. We're doing a double header on the panel tonight. Nick, Matt, and Tim. Pretty good old school panel. Tim, you were talking about seagulls in Exeter at the weekend. I do remember someone commenting in your hair looks like a seagull on the top of your head.
Flock of seagulls, maybe.
It's landed again. Welcome. Good evening.
Evening. I've turned to drink tonight after watching them on Saturday. I need a few stiff ones.
Nick, nice coiffure, nicely trimmed haircut this evening. Not looking like Tony Beats anymore. No, that's
it. Oh yeah, bit of shave. Your audio is really poor, John. Just for awareness.
Okay. Give us a minute.
I don't know if mine's any better, but it sounds a bit crackly.
Give us a sec. Matt, welcome.
He's got Raggy's mic, I think that's what it's got.
Yeah, evening all. I'm wearing black as a matter of somberness.
There's a bit of a theme going on there, actually, isn't there, between the three of us?
Yeah.
There's only John still being optimistic.
If you look at my top, it's an Adidas. Is the audio okay now? Should be all right.
Perfect.
Not bad.
Yeah. So it's an Adidas, just general top that I thought looked like a Blackpool shirt. So I'm nearly there. I'm not wearing the club colours after the debacle of the first 3 games. The first, obviously, we discussed at Bloomfield Road, Stevenage defeat. We thought we'd atone ourselves at Exeter, but oh no. And who was stupid enough to make that long and arduous journey? And for the benefit of the audio pod, Mr. Fielding is covering his face. So match aside, Tim, what was it like getting down there and the
fantastic. I've got to say we stayed overnight, so we had a fantastic. The weather was great. It was, which is always a bit of a bonus, isn't it? About 24, 25 degrees. Really, really easy trip down. Paid to all the negativity that certain people on this podcast have dished my way about my ability to get to and from football stadiums. And it was one of those. Actually, we sat in the. We talked to Matt before. We sat in the Wetherspoons. We'd gone down by the river for brunch, and then we sat by the Wetherspoons. And some of the lads with me said, "This is the best away trip we've ever been on." And so I went, "Whoa, we haven't been watched the football match yet, you know." So
who said that?
Two of the guys who were with us said, "Look, this is our." Now these 2 guys, Chris Reese, who sometimes I think listens to the pod, being one of them, apparently haven't seen us win away from home for 5 years. And what muggins goes to an away game with them? Plus, a guy called Vinny watched us all last year without seeing us win a game. So I'm thinking I'm with the biggest bunch of Jonas that have ever been to watch Blackpool matches. I mean, talk about the runes being out for us actually losing. So, but yeah, the actual day, great day, great. I won't go out bore everybody, but great night down by the quayside on after the match. A great weekend ruined by football. Not for the first time.
I've just picked up on Bison's comment. I did pick up on that as well, Bison. So no, I'm not going to let that go. And Matt's nodding his head as well. What am I referring to, Matt?
Brunch.
What's wrong with brunch? It was about
Brunch.
11:30. It's not breakfast, is it? 11:30.
Only
It wasn't-
Tim would discuss brunch on this podcast, or even use that word.
It was a full English with a pint.
Right, on to the game, if we must. Oh, before we start the game, we've obviously signed Dale Taylor in the build-up to the game a couple of days before. Everyone was looking forward. What?
Couldn't register him, but we signed him.
I wonder if Chris Badlam was back in the backroom staff. Who remembers him? Bottle top guy.
I'd forgotten his name, but I remember his bottle tops on his LinkedIn profile. But his bottle tops, like his beer glasses, weren't they? Were they not upturned
Bottle
beer
tops.
glasses?
Bottle tops. In a nightclub, covering one eye.
And you pick that as your LinkedIn profile pic, as you do.
That being said, Nick, it wouldn't have made any difference, would it, had Dale Taylor played in that game?
Well, we'll never know, will we? Probably not. Yeah, it was just like say, we've been buzzing to get that over the line, and you're thinking, will he start? He'll probably be on the bench. Team comes out, right? Where is he? And then you see the club statement that there's been a bit of a cock up with his registration, and that kind of set the tone, then, didn't it? We run out in that kit that I never want to see us playing again. That's not the reason we lost, but it's horrendous. So you're just thinking, right, he's not on the bench, and then it was just a bad day all around after that, wasn't it? You're looking at the formation there, 4-4-2, but we've not got an out-and-out winger on the right-hand side. Honeyman, great player, but isn't a winger. So straight away, you square pegs in round holes there. And then we got overrun in midfield, didn't we? And there was just some shocking defending throughout. It was a bad day all round, definitely.
Can I submit a plea of mitigation for the kit, please? Because I actually don't think it's as bad as some people think it is. I think it's one of those
awful. It's awful. It's lavender. It's lavender.
To go to the, brilliant. We've got Blackpool Tower as sponsor. It's iconic. But
you can't read it though, Nick, because the font's too dark.
You can't see it. So I think we've missed a trick. Or whatever colour you go, just a bit plainer, and you can showcase the sponsor being Blackpool Tower. There's a bit of a thing with third kits, isn't it, that you almost got to be wacky as you possibly can be, and quite a lot of people are having a laugh at Preston's rather luminous effort, and it's like we've gone, right, hold my beer, watch this, and we've given a load of felt tips to some 8-year-olds with an outline of the shirts and said try and stay within the line. And it's not for me. I'll be honest, I'm not the target audience for buying these things, but so maybe.
So in Shickers on Saturday, we're not going to see you sporting a bit of a purple number, are we not?
Absolutely, 100% not. No, it's not for me. But like I say, that's not the reason for the poor performance. It just
they do say wearing smart clothes and designer labels and well-fitting clothes make you feel better as a footballer, and you've got to walk out with that monstrosity on. It's almost embarrassing. I think I'd be embarrassed to wear that as a grown man. So it could, we just brush that off. So maybe there is a bit of a mentality thing around wearing that thing.
I'm a bit of a certain vintage. I've got Fiorentina vibes from the Channel 4 Italian show, but I think it is a bit busy. I think it could be toned down.
At least I do like a purple, wasn't it? That was a plain purple, wasn't it?
Now, this is lavender. It's like those sweets. Do you remember what those sweets called?
Violets, thingy violets, Parma violets.
Yeah, it looks like them. Anyway, Kit slagging off aside. Anyone else got anything to say about the starting 11? Peacock Farrell maintaining his place. Hitway and Casey, centre halves, Lyons right back, Coulson left. Hansen starting on left, Brown and Evans in the middle, Honeyman right wing, as Nick said, and Fletcher and Ennis up top. Honeyman wasted, I think, on the right wing.
Yeah, I think 100%. I think the problem I think we've got at the moment is that we've and I think this is, with that, particularly with having Hubby out and having Imre out, is we haven't really got proper fullbacks, have we? We've got the fullbacks were playing suit a 3-5-2.
They're both wing backs, aren't they, Tim?
Yeah, they are. So we're trying to shoehorn them into a 4-4-2, which doesn't work. And then we're shoving our most creative player out on the wing, where he's probably a lot easier to mark and close down. In order to try and shoehorn Evans into the side, where, as we saw from his performance against Stevenage, he's below, to say he's below par at the moment is for me is an understatement. And then we're matching up against, for the most part, opposition who have three in the middle, and we've got two very pedestrian. I think it might be a little bit different with Albie Morgan in there and Honeyman, but with who we have with Brown and with Evans, we're very pedestrian, and and they've got to do more work because they're up against a three, and we've got. I mean, it's weird. The whole dynamic looked massively wrong on Saturday. I don't know how much we want to, not talking about the game specifically, but you've got Peacock Farrell, who says nothing to his defence whatsoever. Now, most goalkeepers are talking to the defence, even if it's just encouragement, but more often, hopefully, be something a bit more constructive. And the contrast between him and the Exeter keeper, who was about 5'9", but had character, was engaged with his defence, was even having banter with the Blackpool fans, was like black and white. It was the complete opposite, and it's probably a reflection of the fact that he's lacking confidence. Maybe some of the defence have said something to him after Stevenage. I don't know. But there's a massive disconnect between the keeper and the defence at the moment for me. And that's before we start moving forward and talk about Evans as captain and how fucking shite he is as a captain, because he says nothing. There's no organisation. There's no encouragement. There's no direction being given. And your captain needs to do that, not just stroll around the pitch and keep his mouth shut. So there's nothing being said. We must be the quietest team known to man.
That would have been pretty easy to hear in last night's game as well. So you could hear all the team talking on the stream that I watched. It was like that in the ground, but yeah, it's a good point, Tim.
And it's endemic. We haven't got lead. We don't look like we've got leaders on the pitch at the moment. And maybe when we get a couple of players back from injury, that will change. Because I think. I do think Morgan has a bit to say. Obviously, Hubby has a lot to say, but it's weird because Exeter apparently have that quite well known, have the lowest budget in the league, and they were talking about us being the fat cats coming to town. I think they thought they were going to get drilled. We thought we were going to drill them. But the spirit they showed and the football they played was far superior generally to us. The ball was going into the forwards' defeat. They were encouraging each other, quite inventive. We were just lumping it. So when you go back, who did we have used to up front, the diminutive forwards? And we used to whinge about the fact that we used to lump the ball up to them. But we're doing it to Ennis. We're lumping the ball, not playing it into his feet. Where obviously against Stevenage when he could do a few turns and he got professionally fouled to stop him getting through. But to play his best, we're lumping the ball forward to him and to Fletcher, who doesn't seem to be able to jump more than 3 inches from the floor. But particularly Ennis, the number of times I saw it spin off his head and just go through to their keeper was just ridiculous. And that's just poor football. That's poor I don't think it's instruction. I think it's us panicking and us just looking to get rid of it as quickly as we can. So the whole vibe and the whole approach was amateur.
Apart from that, pretty good, yeah.
Enjoyed it. I said I enjoyed the day, but the 90 minutes in the middle of the fun was excruciatingly bad. It's probably one. I mean, I didn't go to Port Vale or Burton last year, which I believe were particular. Was it not last year? Was it the year before when the Critchley? I can't remember now. But those performances were really bad. But this was really it was dreadful. It was on every single level. We'll obviously talk about the game as it goes on, but from the first minute to the last minute, it was the same, and it was predictable, pedestrian, so easy to second guess what we were going to do, and yet we're playing. Listen, I think Exeter. Maybe they won't, but I thought they would struggle this season. But they were like twice the team we were on Saturday, and that's the worrying bit. It's not the fact we lost. Yeah. You can lose a game of football, can't you? But it's how you lose the game of football. And
I'll just jump forward, Tim, to the whole match stats. There you go. 2.92 XG to them, to our 0.72. That always tells a good story of the match to me.
They could have had 3 or 4
more.
Oh,
yeah. It could have been 6 or 7 quite easily. Nick, we all settled down to watch the match in anticipation of a good Blackpool performance, and that was dashed after only 5 minutes. Just a ball into the box from the left-hand side, not dealt with.
Yeah, and I thought he'd gone a little bit too wide with it at first, and the chance
he took a bad touch, didn't he? He miscontrolled it.
He did. So you think, oh, thank God for that, and then he's still got time to just stroke it into the net.
There's no one around me. All right, okay.
I know. Well, all of the goals were shocking defending, weren't they? And you know, like Tim said, I think when you look at the lineup and you've got full-backs, you've got wing-backs rather than out-and-out full-backs, you've got a central midfielder, or somebody who prefers to play central midfield, playing out wide. He's not going to take a man on the outside. He's naturally going to drift back in. So the whole thing is just unbalanced, and you've got a keeper who isn't confident. That radiates into the defence. Like Tim said, there's nobody talking, no leaders. So credit to Exeter, they were great, but they probably won't have an easier 90 minutes at home all season, you know, because we were just so poor and did make it easy for them. The way, just how poor our defending was. It was like we've all done it on a Sunday morning, haven't we, where you just pulled 11 lads together at the last minute for a game of footy and nobody knows each other. It felt like that nobody knew what each other was doing. There was no plan. There's no leaders, and we got what we deserved. Yeah, all of the goals were. I watched them again before, and it just set pieces as well is a worry. You know, how many is that conceded from set pieces already? Is it 4 or something like that? 4 or 5 so far this season. So, I mean, I'm not in the Bruce out camp, but there's a lot that needs to be fixed. I think it's a bit more deep rooted than just it's early days and we'll gel. You know, we need people back in, obviously. Probably need to tweak the formation, which he's hinted at after his interview last night. But yeah, we got what we deserved on Saturday, and it probably should have been more.
Nick, do you think I was thinking today? Do you think we'd almost like at the moment, like would suit a little bit more, particularly if we get the fullback sorted, a bit more of a 4-3-3 than what we do than the 4-4-2? Because I think we need the 3 in the middle, and then if you have Bloxham wide, and if you have Ennis, and if you have Taylor, I can see that working. But at the moment, but we do need that. We can't play the fullbacks we've got at the moment in any system that Bruce wants to play. It just doesn't work.
No,
Matt, there's a few comments coming in about Evans and being the captain, saying that's a big mistake. Evans, for me, was at fault for that first goal as well. I don't know if you saw it. He just, rather than close the man down, he took the decision to just run onto the line and try and stop the impending shot that was about to come on. No chance of stopping it. So that was bizarre.
He probably knew. He probably thought he'd do a better job than Peacock Farrell. That's why. I don't know. But I don't know if he can be sort of singled out in that first goal. There was just a calamity of errors, wasn't there? You know, I mean, if I think back to it, I won't go over what Nick said, obviously, but, you know, there was no reaction from their quick throw-in. The defenders were pulled all over the place. Nobody came back in to tuck in once the centre halves had moved over. It was just a shit show of a defended sort of 35 seconds calamity, wasn't it, really? And then Evans as captain. Listen, at the start of the season, Evans gets the armband because husband is there. I'm not particularly arsed about that. The guy played 40-odd games for us last year. So that's a decent reason to keep him as captain. Who else is there? Maybe Casey, perhaps, probably. Obviously, Honeyman is coming as captain, but he's coming as a previous captain elsewhere. But he's literally his first or second game for us. So, maybe
Casey's a good shout. Yeah, I think.
But as it stands, I mean, Evans is getting a lot of stick at the moment, and most of that's deserved because of his football. But I don't think it necessarily matters about the captaincy side of things. It's just typical of as Tim mentioned earlier, the lack of voice and professionalism that's out there. It seems at the moment, everybody's sort of looking around at everybody else, and it's like proper schoolboy stuff, isn't it? At times, and it's just been horrific. And we'll go on to talk about the other goals if we really must. But yeah, it was just one of the worst performances I think I've seen 3 or 4 years, I would say. And there's been a few of those, hasn't there? Let's be honest. And when I think back I was watching the game with my mate on Saturday, and there was literally not one moment where we moved an inch off the sofa. And normally there's something happening, isn't there, where you'd at least flinch or do something.
When we scored, Matt, I didn't move. I just kind of just
that was it.
My eyes I rolled my eyes almost when we scored.
Yeah. We've got one, and you just knew the inevitable was going to happen, that they were going to get another one at some point, because we just didn't look like we had any punch in us at all. So, yeah. So anyway, there you go. So Evans, I don't know about. He doesn't appear to be captain material, but I don't think he needs to have even more sort of mud slung in his direction at the moment. He's got enough on his plate, I think.
Tim, let's come to the second goal from the corner, obviously in front of the Blackpool fans, so you probably get a good view of this. I'll bring Mark's comment in there. Having Fletch back for corners is pointless. He completely lost his man for 2 of the goals. So this one in particular just got out jumped. Well, the defenders knocked it back across the goal, headed it across the goal, and
we seem
Fletch
to have
made no attempt to put him off, no attempt to jump, no attempt to get the ball.
Yeah. We seem to have good numbers at that back post as well. But it was interesting, again, when we're setting up for the corner, if I remember it rightly, and I don't want to make it an Evans bash, but he was at the near post. There's no consideration by him as to how we're setting up as captain. Now, whether they've all got instructions or not, God only knows. But the ball comes through, and it was like a free header back across, isn't it? And I can't remember. I'm trying to remember Peacock Farrell's role in this.
It was Heckway shanked it under no pressure, just panicked and shanked it towards his own goal. It wasn't a really powerful deflection. It was just kind of shanked towards him, and Peacock flapped.
Peacock flapped it.
I was thinking of a gag there, but I made one by mistake.
Your brain was whirring, I could tell.
It's bizarre. And I'm jumping forward a little bit to Tuesday, but do you know when we went back to Stevenage when they forgot the name of the player now, the guy rounded him and scored off the first Horsfall's back pass. I thought at the time, oh well, maybe he couldn't get down, but he didn't make any effort. And the number of times I see him though, now we're 3 games in, either not make an effort to save something, or if he does make an effort, it's half-arsed, or even if he saves it, it looks so unorthodox. It's almost like he's not. It almost comes across to me. It's like he's an outfield player who's been chucked in goals, and he's like a bit maverick and a bit random about how he goes about doing things. And it's incredibly worrying, because I think, I hope it's just a confidence thing and it's a temporary thing. But if that's the way he defends a goal, generally, he's never going to improve. I mean, Burnley fans don't seem to have a great deal of good to say about him. Birmingham fans don't seem to have a good deal to say about him that's particularly positive.
Neither does MB. He's dog shit and will fuck a boss.
But I listen, and behind the goal, particularly in the second half, there was a lot of encouragement being given towards him, because the problem is, you know, it's all right when you're there. When he's really close to you and if people are saying you're dog shit, then it's only going one way, isn't it? It's not going to get any better. And he got loads of encouragement in the second half for anything he did that was positive. There was like, and I thought, to be fair, that was great from the fan base to do that, because I think they all appreciated the last thing he needs is us on his back. But it is so worrying that there's no vocal whatsoever for him. You never hear him shout keepers. You never hear him instruct anybody to do anything. And we've got. Listen, let's hope the other guy could do something, because I don't like to write somebody after 3 games. But whatever Bruce sees in him, I think at the moment appears to be misplaced. And if we're sensible, we're going to go and get Tyrone right off as a bad job.
Yeah, I mean, you can't afford to be sentimental, can you? That's the thing, and I think there's a little bit of that. That's why he's at the club in the first place. Obviously, he's got ties with Birmingham, and maybe that's why, you know, Bruce has seen him in a previous role, if you will. I mean, I'm no professional coach. I'm no professional footballer or anything like that. But you can pretty much spot a good one from a bad one relatively quickly. And this guy, unfortunately, is not a good one. And he's not even as good as, you know, several number 2s and number 3s that we've had in the past. And that's
Stuart Moore.
Well, yeah, Stuart Moore. You know, obviously the O'Donnell who left last year, you would have him in a heartbeat at the moment.
Ravizoli, whatever his name is, he's been released by MK Dons when they got relegated to League Two. So released by Orient. And
it's bizarre, isn't it?
He was crap at AFC Fylde apparently, and it doesn't sound good on paper to me or from reports.
Yeah, so it's bizarre, really, isn't it? Because when you think about what our recruitment team are doing, and we're spending a lot of money, and you do wonder what stats they're looking at for the goalkeeper, or videos and all this sort of stuff, and reports and so on and so forth. Because these two just, I mean, I haven't seen the other guy play, but I'm only going off what I've heard and what you've just said, John, quite frankly. But these are not the players that you want to be getting you promoted, it sounds like. You know, and maybe they'll both come good and we'll have 32 clean sheets in the next 36 games. Who knows? I very much doubt it. But you can, like I said, I think you can spot a good one from a bad one pretty much straight away. And I think it was Nick who mentioned it earlier. It just reverberates through the team from back to front, especially at the back. I mean, the back four is missing 1 or 2 bodies anyway, particularly in the fullbacks area. And it just doesn't fill you with any confidence at all as a defender when you've got somebody behind you who doesn't say a word. You don't even know where they're stood for a start. If you've got your back to goal and you need to do a back pass or whatever, you're not entirely sure whether you're going to play it in the middle of the goal to the left or the right, because you don't know where the goalkeeper stood, because he's not opening his goal. You know, and they're just basics. You know, and Bruce says about he needs confidence and all this sort of stuff.
We ain't got time. We haven't got time to build up. We haven't got time to build up a loanee keeper's confidence. Thanks.
No, but how old is he? He's about 20. He's not a young lad, is he?
Yeah.
He's been around
26,
7 or 8.
27.
He's like in the peak age for football.
Yeah, 7 or 8 seasons at a decent level, hasn't he? 40-odd international caps.
We're not dealing with like Tyra when he came in last season, when he was very much a rookie and hadn't played any league football before. And you do give them time because you expect them to improve and you expect them to develop. And Tyra did. And I think that by the end of the season, we had a half-decent keeper. And that's the price you pay when you take a keeper on loan. But when you take an experienced keeper on loan who spent a year at Burnley and God knows how many years at Birmingham, I don't even know where else he's been, if I'm being honest. But he's not that young a lad. And he's got all the physical attributes of the keeper. He's, you know, big. He's a big guy. You know, he should be commanding. He should be able to command his box. I don't know exactly how tall he is, but he looks like he's 6'3", 6'4" to me.
6'4". Played
Yeah.
40 appearances for Leeds, 12 at Burnley, 43 Sheffield Wednesday, 9 at Birmingham, 48 caps for Northern Ireland. Something doesn't add up, does it?
No, but he's like looking at Bambi or something, you know, on ice with the way he walks around his box. I don't know if there's something not right somewhere. I don't want to speculate too much, but he does not look like a keeper who's played that number of games, all at a higher level than us. It should be like a walk in the park, shouldn't it, in League One?
Nick, Ash Fletcher got us back on terms. A decent ball in from Lee Evans. So I've been critical of him, but he played a decent ball in. But ably abetted by Exeter's Blackpool-esque defending. Couldn't miss Fletcher, really.
No, yeah, you know, gets it back to 2-1, and you think, okay, decent ball in, which hasn't been the case with Evans, you know, this season or for some of last. Decent pace on the ball, yeah, and Fletch got his head into it. Poor marking from their point of view, and you think, okay, as poor as we've been, at least we've managed to get a goal, and hopefully we can kick on. But it was back to normal sort of after that, wasn't it? That was the only decent thing we did, really.
It was almost a get out of jail card, that goal, which we didn't capitalise on.
Yeah.
First half, we were probably lucky to go into the break at 2-1. 1.28 XG to our 0.41. They've had 5 shots on target to our 1. One big chance with basically one shot on goal. It's gone in. So, Tim, how's the feeling in the stands at half time? Did you think was the mood?
It was. I think the general view was that we were going to struggle because I think Exeter were unlucky not to be perhaps 1 or 2 goals more to the good, and I think it's a feature of. I didn't watch much of that. Well, we don't jump ahead. I didn't watch much last night, but the 2 games I've been to live is how few shots we have in a game and compared with the opposition. And we've seen those stats from the first half where we've had 1 shot on target, which is obviously the goal we score. And that's literally, I can't remember us having another chance in the first half. Now, if you want to win games of football, you've got to create chances, haven't you? And listen, we've got some good pros out there, but we aren't creating chances because we're not finding the feet of players. We're not actually playing to our strengths. And we see this as the game develops in the second half, and I'm sure it's a feature of what it was most certainly a feature of the bit I saw last 20 minutes, 25 minutes on last night. But and Stephen, we do not create chances, and that's we're far worse, I think, this year than last year in that respect. Where last year, you know, if you think of Orient and a few other games which we didn't win, where we created innumerable chances. So there is a major disconnect. I mentioned disconnect between the keeper and defence. There's a major disconnect then moving forward into midfield and then moving forward into the forward positions where I think the setup in central midfield is all wrong. And we're not playing to Ennis's strengths. We definitely didn't play to Ennis's strengths on Saturday. And Fletcher's back playing like he did. Hopefully, we've obviously got Taylor to feature more, I suspect, and Bloxham to feature more. But at half time, I didn't generally think we could get back into the game. I always felt it was going one way, and it was always going to be going against us.
Didn't come out firing in the second half, Matt. Exeter looked like they were a team that were going to get the third, and they did on 60 minutes. Talk us through this goal if you can remember it.
Well, that's the thing. I'm trying hard to forget everything else about the game, if I'm brutally honest. Yeah, so I really
floated ball to the back post, completely not picked up.
Oh Christ! Yeah, now it comes back to me. Yeah, bloody hell.
like a bad dream.
Oh God! I mean,
you expected the flag or something to go up. Thought, it must be offside because all the Blackpool players have stopped playing.
Well, the two of them just decided to barge into each other like they were on just like 9 pins, knocking each other over, weren't they? And then the lad at the back post, all he had to do was put his head on it, and it was just calamitous again, wasn't it? Everyone putting their hands up in the air if it was offside or some foul or whatever, and waiting for the referee to make a decision instead of just getting on with the bloody thing. And I mean, the only thing that was good about that goal, and I say that in very loose terms, was that for the Exeter fans, it was Adam Stansfield's retired shirt that scored the goal, wasn't it? So there's a nice sort of touch with regards to that. But it was just, honestly, I sat in my sofa, because obviously I wasn't in the match, sat in my sofa, and it was just like shrug of the shoulders, like, here we go. That was just typical crap defending again, wasn't it? It was just abysmal, absolutely abysmal. And, I sort of envisaged them on presumably Monday morning, going over the tapes, how old am I? Going over the video or whatever they've got these days anyway, with the players and analyse this thing. And I don't know whether they'll laugh or cry really in the room. Can you imagine
for those of a certain vintage, as Bison says, it's a knockout defender.
It is.
Who remembers that?
That's right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's maybe the thing they need to do is wear those big suits like they used to.
And those massive boots.
Yeah. Make it more difficult for them to get past us. I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, so that was a third goal. Calamitous.
Just going back slightly though, last season Bruce was quite sort of on the front foot in terms of making, he wasn't afraid to make changes early, was he? He wasn't one for leaving it sort of like Critch did to the 70th minute. Would you have done a bit more at half time in terms of changing things around?
Difficult to say, because I think there's still, as we saw last night as well, just players don't seem to be match fit, do they? Whether they had 35, 40 minutes in them or whatever, I don't know. The lad who got him from Palace, whose surname I can't pronounce yet, he looked quite useful when he came on, but it was game over at that particular point. And obviously, Taylor wasn't there, and the list goes on with the people who weren't involved. But yeah, I think he was maybe a little bit hamstrung in terms of what he could have done. But I think, he might have preserved a little bit of, he could have gone a little bit negative and just stopped the flow of the game a little bit and kept it at almost 3-1 really, and just get a bit of solidity in there by putting another couple of midfielders in, perhaps, just to put bodies in. I don't know, was Ashworth on the bench on Saturday? I'm trying to think.
Yeah, I think he was.
Because I thought he did all right. Yeah, I thought he did all right the other day. He came on second half, didn't he, against Stevenage, and just seems to be overlooked again. And that was one I was going to mention when we did the lineup earlier. But
I was going back at half time. John picked up, and I've forgotten really the talk on. Well, it wasn't really we weren't underneath the ground, sort of just out the back. Was that there would be changes at half time? So I think it was quite surprising. I'd forgotten about that actually. To be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was probably the gin and tonics in the Wetherspoon and Exeter, but I was quite surprised that there weren't any changes at half time. And actually, we were trying to pull Evans off for about 3 or 4 minutes before they got that third goal, and because I think was it about 60 minutes the third goal, but 2 or 3 minutes
later. Subs were a minute later.
Yeah, so we were trying to make the subs before it, and I think there was a bit of exasperation. I don't think the ball went out, one of those situations where the ball doesn't go out of play for quite a long time, so it didn't happen.
That's where you just get a bit of professionalism, make a foul, then, isn't it? Or something.
Yeah, but there was I think there was a recognition that the second half hadn't. Maybe Bruce had said go out and give it everything for 10 minutes, and then I'll look at it from there, but. We just came out playing exactly the same, and so it's quite frustrating that we're trying to make those changes. I can't remember now who specifically. I think it was Bloxham who was due to come on, if I'm remembering it. And for me, when he did come on, he was probably one of the few bright parts of the performance. Was that? Well, and it's always difficult when people aren't playing around you the way that you want them to. But I did think that he tried to take the game to Exeter a bit. But it's like
it's a little too late.
If you're working on your own and nobody's playing with you, it becomes impossible because you can't take them all on. A number of times he ended up being crowded out by 2 or 3 Exeter players, but he was trying, and it really stood out. There was a real difference, I think, between his mindset, which was to attack Exeter's back four, and others who seemed to be quite happy. Fucking hell! I mean, how many times did we play across that back four, backwards and forwards? It's like watching cricket ball.
Look at the ball. Look at the accurate passes and ball possession stats there, Tim. It's Critchley stats those. 93 passes for them.
Well, we've won the game, John. We've won the game because we got 68% possession.
Nick, as Matt mentioned, Aboué made a reasonably decent impact when he came on. I thought more happened when he came on than, from an attacking point of view than the entire game. So let's try and pick up a positive from this game. And I think it was his performance, and he carried it on against Port Vale.
Yeah, and like Tim says, blocks them as well. You know, you would like to think that going forward, that's 2 players who are, depending on the formation we play, but that hopefully will be involved. I mean, we know what Bloxham can do when he's fit and firing. But both look to get forward, get on the ball and attack, which is what we need because, you know, I said in the chat today with last season, even when we weren't having a great game or, you know, it wasn't going our way, you had Apter on the pitch and Carey who, for all the, you know, the mistakes they might make, at least they got the ball and they drove forward. And we are missing that. Somebody who can get the ball and get us forward. So, you know, Bloxham is certainly one who can do that. And fingers crossed he stays fit because I think he's going to be key to us turning it round.
Matt, you mentioned quick throw-ins, the Blackpool players not reacting, and the first goal happened again on the 4th. Another quick throw-in. I've put in my notes, cut through the Blackpool defence like a knife through butter. And again, Peacock just went to ground straight away before the shot had even come in almost. I don't know if anyone noticed that. Easy as you like, just knocked it in at the near post with no keeper.
It was just bizarre because I think he must have scored from all of 4 yards out or something. And when you think, you think back to the game or that particular instance, rather, as a defender of Sunday morning quality as I was, you can almost, what's going to happen. The only thing that's available to the guy is to put it across the 6-yard line somewhere. So if the defender isn't there, then your goalkeeper has to sort of anticipate that that's what's going to happen. And if the cross is too good for him, then that's fair enough. But it's just no reactions, slow reactions. And yeah, all he had to do was just be there first, the Exeter player, and stick it in the back of the net because we've got somebody who just doesn't want to react. It was just a shit show, wasn't it? Let's be honest. Absolute shit show from first minute to last, pretty much. And that sort of topped it all off, really.
Gave up by that time. Where's your professionalism? Where's your pride? Right, player ratings. This should be interesting. Let's start with you, Nick. Bradley Peacock Fowl, probably the most balanced member of our panel, has got Peacock Fowl.
3, and that's probably being generous.
Tim, Andy Lyons hauled off after 61 minutes. Not really doing it, is he?
4+.
Matt, Ollie Casey, a shadow of the player he was in the back four last season.
Yeah, like I say, he's playing in front of Marcel Marceau, isn't he? So give him a 5 just for that, I reckon.
Even Richard Kingston do a better job. Heckway, Nick, at fault for one of the goals from memory.
Yeah,
It's bizarre that he's got is it a 4-year contract?
That's mental, isn't it?
For
Him or
32-year-olds.
One of them. Was it
He has
Horsfall?
as well. I'm pretty sure Heckway has. Pretty sure.
Was he a 3? Anyway,
3.
either way, yeah.
Is that his marking
it's
or is he a contract?
It's not been a great start for him, has it? And he was poor on Saturday. 4.
Coulson, Tim, another player that's dropped off pretty alarmingly.
I like him. I like him, and I still think he suits a back 4.
Makes you appreciate Jimmy Husband when you see.
Does.
You don't really know what you've got till it's gone.
Yeah, and I like Hayden, but he wasn't very good on Saturday. 4.
Talking of Hayden, I was thinking last night, I think he should not cut his hair until we win.
Looks like a fucking tramp at the moment.
He just done it. Sure, I've seen him in the town centre. Anyway,
actually, I've had a comment about my. I need to get to the hairdressers. I'm not going like an aged Jack Grealish apparently to somebody earlier on. I need an Alex band. Sam's getting married next week, so I'm saving my haircut for next week. So I've got a nice trim for the wedding.
Aged Jack Grealish, brilliant.
Jack Grealish's dad.
Right, Nick, Camille, Hansen, flattered to deceive after a bit of promise.
Yeah, we didn't really get him on the ball or get him into the game, really, did we? So another 4 plus.
Tim, John Brown, £500,000. Where has that money gone? Has that been spent well?
I keep wondering whether he's looking bad because Evans is all over the fucking shop, or whether he's just not playing very well anyway. But it's another 4. There aren't many performances that justify much above 4. where they're justified, we'll give them. But listen, that we've got to call it as it is. This was one of the worst performances a Blackpool team's put out in most
recent living memory.
Well, most certainly since we came back from the boys.
I'd say Critchley included, because at least with Critchley's sides, it was organised.
Yeah,
this is just a complete mess.
It was shambolic. It was shambolic, and we made Exeter look like fucking Spain in winning the World Cup. And those stats are rubbish, aren't they? Because
these are the FOTMOB data-driven stats. These, Tim.
But also what I'm saying, the other stats showed up before, which showed how much possession we had. The possession was garbage possession, where the reason they weren't getting as many complete passes was because they were coming at us and prepared to lose the ball because they were taking the game to us. Where when we got the ball, we just passed it around the back, and then hoofed it up to Ellis. Hoop up Tennis, who then flicked it on and gave it to the goalkeeper. He was having banter with us, and then turned around and just rolled it out. And you had to be there to realise how bad it was. Almost. I mean, but I suspect it wasn't clever on TV. But anyway, 4.
The Evans, Matt, over to you. 7.3 on the FOTMOB rating scale. Obviously, that's because he's got an assist and points for that, but definitely not a 7 in the real world.
No,
building player rating system.
He gets a 4 plus, and he gets the plus for the assist.
Nick, George Honeyman on the right wing, sort of out of the game, out of position.
I'll give him a 5, but I have a degree of sympathy because he's not a winger, is he? You know, it's like we saw with playing Brown at right back last night. Play people in the position, and then they've got half a chance, haven't they? He's a decent player, but he's not a winger. So, yeah.
Tim, now LNS, not got any service, so there's not a lot you can do there, really.
No, I felt very sorry for him, and I don't want to repeat myself, but we don't want to be launching balls at his head. That's absolute nonsense. Play it to his feet, and that's where you're going to get the best out of him. He didn't play well. but he didn't really have any service. So I will be kind and give him a 6.
Matt, to close this off, Ash Fletcher, you can launch balls towards him. He's 6'1", he's a big guy.
Jumps like an elephant, though, doesn't he?
Turtle going into its shell and heads it like a turtle going into his shell.
I was going to give him 5 for the goal, but then I'm going to give him 4 because he was at fault for a goal, I thought, as well. So 4. There you go.
Manager rating now around the room, Nick. Not Steve Bruce's finest hour, and at least he admitted it.
Yeah, he's got to take some responsibility for it. 5. And that's probably being generous.
I think it's a bit generous. Tim, over to you.
I had 5 in mind, but because I think he is hamstrung a little bit by his ability to actually put fullbacks in his formation. But you've got to adapt, haven't you? You've got to if you haven't got the players to play the system you want, then you adapt it. And maybe we should have looked at something else. I don't know, but I think
a man of his experience, Tim, should be able to react to what you say.
Yeah, and we should have changed it at half time. 100% we should. I'm surprised. I'd have changed 5 at half time if I could, but certainly I felt there was 2 or 3 that should have been changed.
Oh, we didn't take our full complement of subs either. I've just remembered.
Yeah, well, I think they were hoping to get Taylor.
Was that why?
Yeah.
He kept coming into the team sheet and then going out the team sheet. So, because I think there was some thoughts that I think they thought whatever the minor error. Listen, when you're registering a player, if there's an error on the registration form and you're submitting it on the Friday, you get hung by your own petard, don't you? In that if it's not right, you can't play them. So there's no point in us bleating about the fact the EFL aren't working on a Saturday afternoon. It's tough shit, isn't it? You know, you read I think we signed him on the Thursday. We should have registered him on the Thursday, made sure we registered him properly. It's not. I can't imagine it's rocket science. But then you don't bleat at them when they're applying the rules because they've got to apply the rules consistently. You either register them properly or they're not registered. So whatever the minor error was, So I don't think he should have whinged about that either. So I'm actually going to downgrade him to a 4.
Okay, Matt, over to you. I'm just going to throw this comment up from Matthew Warrender. Steve Bruce, win ratio 35.3%. Neil Critchley, win ratio 48.39. Things need to improve ASAP under Bruce.
Yeah, it seems to. I mean, last year, thinking back, it sort of everything happened in spells a bit, didn't it? Really, we seemed to be good for several weeks, and then not so clever, and then we were okay again. And he needs to be more consistent, or the squad side needs to be more consistent, and obviously he needs to get those results out of them somehow. But I was just looking at the lineup, and I do have concerns about this lack of inflexibility because I'm just thinking, top of my head, he has Zach Ashwood in the squad. He's played Brown at right back, so he could have played a different formation. He could have played Brown as a right centre half and pushed Lyons and Coulson as wing backs. He could have played Ashworth as a left centre half and pushed Lyons and Coulson as wing backs, just to throwing it out there. But there was no way he was going to do that at all because it's just not in his psyche. But that's just, you're 3-1 down or 4-1. You've got to try something different, haven't you? But he's just replacing, it seems like for like at the moment. But so anyway, going back to the score for him, 4 or 5, really. But, I know that the natives are already starting to get restless about him, aren't they? Which ordinarily after 2 league games and a cup game, you just think that's ridiculous. But it's the manner of the games, isn't it? It's the manner of the performances so far. It's how things just aren't fitting into any sort of system. You can't see any flow with things. You can see the odd spark, like last night. I don't know whether you want to go into the game or whether we just brush over it a bit. But you see sparks from things like I thought Bloxham really did well last night. I thought CJ did all right, and 1 or 2 others. Honeyman back in the centre of back in the centre of midfield where he should be, arguably. And we pinged it around a little bit better. And actually thought Evans did all right for 40 minutes or thereabouts. But it's just not good enough to do things for 30 or 40 minutes.
Matt, we were playing Port Vale.
I know. And we're playing a Port Vale team that had 9 changes. I get that. But, building blocks, you think, we've got something going on here, and then it just falls flat after like 55 minutes, didn't it? The second half entirely, almost, really. And you're just starting to wonder, and that's why people are getting twitchy about things. And you just do hope that these 3 or 4 players that are out injured, and we have to look at the left back and the goalkeeping position still. Whilst if there's any more, little pennies in Simon Sadler's bag, he needs to possibly get them out or get rid of a couple so we can afford to get a couple in. But yeah, it's bizarre really that we seem to be still talking about being short in certain positions, and we're in the middle of August, and it doesn't look like
it's not just one. It's not just 1 or 2 positions, Matt. It's both fullbacks.
Well,
it's central midfield. It's centre half. It's goalkeeper.
Yeah, I think it is scary. I think we're unlucky. We got Imre in, and he's been injured in minutes of playing for us, hasn't he? Which is just Blackpool away, innit? Christ almighty, it couldn't write it. But I do worry, and I mentioned it before on our chat in our group, that at the start of the season, we knew we had Coulson and Husband as left backs. You've got, respectfully, Jimmy Husband, the wrong side of 30, great servant and all that. But is he really the left back you want to get your promotion? Probably not. But he's a great asset to the squad and the team and all the rest of it. Coulson just isn't a flat back for left back. Simple as that. He's better in the other half than our half. And that's what we've got. And we haven't got another right back because we've got rid of whoever we got rid of. Gabriel and 1 or 2 others just haven't come in yet, perhaps. And yeah, and then we've talked about the goalkeeper situation already, haven't we? And the pivotal positions. And it's just, I don't know, you just feel as though the next 2 weeks are still crucial to the season, aren't they, as far as the transfer window goes? Because if nothing happens,
season over.
I'm not sure where we go. I can't see this side all of a sudden turning into, Leighton Orient went on a hell of a run last year. They didn't, they lost their first 4 league games and then they got to the playoffs. I just don't see that in us at the moment. I might be wrong. I hope I am. But
if you're Simon and you've pumped the money in that you have,
you'd be fuming.
Summer chance. You'll be absolutely fuming because Peacock Farrell, as I understand it, is on. I don't know about ravioli. Is it ravioli?
I'm still calling that.
It's just ravioli in the chat there. I thought that's not right. Peacock Farrell is definitely on decent dough, and I don't know whether we can send him back till January. But you can see from pre-season, the first few games, we have not got the keeper to get us promoted, have we?
Most important position on a pitch. As a football manager myself at the youth level, you see it how important that position is.
Massive. And we've dropped the bollock on that one. Whose fault is irrelevant.
It's the recruitment team, isn't it?
Well, it's not. Maybe it depends who's the decision maker on it. Because I get the impression that Bruce really rates Peacock Farrell, but at the moment, listen, and he might turn. But at the moment, it looks that confidence in him looks massively displaced, and we've only got a short window with which to turn it around. And if Simon is genuinely hoping to get us up this season, which I'm sure he is, bearing in mind what he's thrown at it, that's one thing. We're going to have to be ruthless. We've got 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
It's why didn't he play him, Ravizoli, against Port Vale? You think that's the obvious game to throw him in and see what he can do.
It was the perfect opportunity, wasn't it? And you just think in an ordinary world, I would argue that a lot. I don't know. I had no stats to back this up at all, but I would imagine a lot of teams probably did change the goalkeeper on Tuesday night and tonight in this cup competition for that very reason. Just if nothing else, just to rotate the squad, but also to have a look at a number two. And that's what you do, isn't it? You take the opportunity when you've got it, because now we haven't got that opportunity. We've got to make the decision on, is he going to play a keeper who hasn't played for us yet against top of the league, who haven't conceded a goal yet?
And arguably, he was not at fault for the goal, but he should have done better with the goal. Just a free header, again from a set piece, again unmarked at the back post. But the keeper's just done a cursory flap at it and it's gone through him.
I don't know. I when it went in, my first thought wasn't what's the keeper doing? It was where's the defence? You know, it was a bullet header. I get it. It's near post. It'd probably have to get a pretty strong hand on it. And I'm not saying he's blameless, but I put it more on the defence that just how much of a free header he had from that.
Do you remember that? Do you remember was it a header that went wide?
No, there was one where he did like a bit of a volleyball dive. I had to watch it back to see what he'd done.
It was weird.
He kind of dropped on the floor and
just
sort of palmed it back out away from it. It was a bizarre thing to do, but I think for the goal you look at the defence ahead of looking at the keeper for me. But it is a worry, and I can only assume he's played him last night just to maybe think it might have been an easier night for him. He gets a clean sheet under his belt, and it builds for Saturday because he, again, like you say, you're chucking Ravizoli in for his league debut for us against top of the league. If we have a nightmare there, the other thing is we don't see what goes on in training, and I'd be worried if this was the case, but it might
probably
be
as well.
Farrell looks the best of the two, and if he is, heaven help us. We only see the 90 minutes, don't we? But I don't know. It is a worry because, like I say, because that then builds onto the rest of the team, doesn't it? But I think I'd put that on the defence rather than on Peacock Farrell for the goal for last night.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. But the thing is with keepers, you could do, I don't know, you could do a little bit of coaching with them, can't you? But generally speaking, at this level, because they're generally supposed to be good enough at this level, and then you just you're fine tuning things. But at the moment, you're having to change the whole bloody engine, aren't you? Here, really, rather than just tweaking it a little bit. And that's obviously we've got to sit tight and see whether things change. But I think, as we've said more than once on this pod, we might just be stuck with him.
Okay, let's move on to Huddersfield. I've spelt it wrong there, so let me change it. Doesn't bode well to be playing an inform side, the form we're in. I can't see anything other than a defeat personally. What's everyone's thoughts?
I don't know. You'd probably say so. They'll be full of confidence. We're lacking confidence, but we've been here before, haven't we? And when you think, where's the win coming from? It can happen. It's a funny old game, as Satan Greaves used to say. He has hinted that on his post-match interview last night, maybe he needs to do something with the formation. I think we need to. I think if we go 4-4-2, we're going to be in for a tough afternoon because we talk about Evans and how poor he's been, but I think whoever the two are in the middle, like we've said, if you're up against the three, you're going to be in for a difficult afternoon. And so many teams, not many teams play 4-4-2 anymore. So if he tweaks it, you maybe chuck Taylor in, blocks him in, then I think we've a chance. Certainly, we can put a very good team out, but I just don't want to see a central midfielder on right wing or a central midfielder at right back. Because then I cannot see us getting anything from the game.
Okay, let's pick our team just before we go. Are we changing this 4-4-2? That's the first question to ask.
Got to.
Got to, but will he? That's
we've
the thing.
Got to. Yeah. Well, we're going to.
We're going to do it. Yeah.
Because you've got to, because we haven't got the personnel to play 4-4-2. That's the long and the short of it.
Okay, keeper. Are we throwing in Ravizoli for his debut? I say yes. Can't get any worse. It can't get any worse than this, can it, Mick?
Oh yes, it can. But yeah, I think you've got.
I've seen enough with Peacock Farrell. He's done for me.
I don't think Bruce is going to do it, but I think we're going to do it.
Tim, Matt, Nick. Who are you picking?
It's just this is where Tuesday night was so important.
Yeah,
we should have played him.
Yeah,
because I'm potentially putting a guy in now. I have no idea, absolutely no idea what he's like at all. But from what I've seen about Peacock Farrell, then
He was their keeper.
You know.
He was Wickham's keeper in the first half of last season when they were top
Yeah,
of the league. And then
this
they
is
replaced him. I don't know why they replaced him. But when they replaced him, they fell off, didn't they?
yeah. Well, let's stick him in.
I'm sticking him in.
Like you say, you can't get any worse, can it? Or can it?
People in the chat saying 4-2-3-1.
Yeah, to be honest, I thought that because I was thinking about Brown and Honeyman being sort of, or maybe even Honeyman being further up the pitch. I don't know.
I'd play Honeyman as a 9 or in the 10 role.
Yeah.
What do we think, guys?
Well, I think because we haven't got Horsefall, have we? So we're going to struggle to put 3 centre-backs out, aren't we, if we did play?
Yeah, you haven't got a left foot at all, have you?
It'd have to be thingy, wouldn't it?
Ashworth.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd want him as a third centre half.
Yeah, let's go with this then. Okay, right back. It's got to be Lions, hasn't it?
Yeah, have to be.
2 centre halves.
Yeah.
Casey and Heckway.
I don't want to put a Heckway in, but you've got to.
Oh, heck, way.
Yeah, very good. I don't want to see Coulson as left back either, but you've got to. Or do you? Do you throw in Zach Ashworth? I'm personally saying yes.
I would probably go Ashworth. I think
I
you'd be playing wing backs.
I don't care if he goes forward or not. I just want a solid left back in there who knows how to defend.
We need a left back to be a left back at the moment, don't we? Yeah.
Yeah, good shout. Okay, two holding midfielders. I think Brown is one of them, so I think we're in agreement that he's got to go straight in there.
I think you're probably playing Evans, aren't you? The reality of the situation.
Yeah,
Matt. Yeah,
in a three you are, I think.
Yeah,
because actually the goals we've scored. Sorry, not particularly, but he has been involved in. Even though I think his set plays have been shy, he has been involved in 2 of the goals, 2 of the 3. Is it the 3 goals we've scored in the league this season? In that he's taken the free kick that's led to Honeyman's first, and then he's taken the free kick that led to Fletcher scoring. So that there is an argument to say he has been involved in assists, even though if you look at it statistically, there's a very low success rate in how many crosses he's getting across. But I think there's as long as he's part of a 3, I can see that working.
Okay, I'm going to give you my Cam on my right and my left mid. So Cam, I'm going Honeyman. I'm going Aboué on the left, and I'm going Bloxham on the right.
I would change Aboué for CJ because I think it's just because Bruce knows CJ better.
Oh no.
What about Taylor?
No, I think Taylor will be partnering at some point, Ennis, when he's properly fit, or at least second half, hopefully, when we're only chasing a 1-0.
Not CJ. I'm sorry, Matt. It doesn't get my vote.
All mine.
No.
I would be happy with the Aboué, but I'm just thinking this is how Bruce is thinking.
Well, it's our team, Matt.
Our team, Matt. Our team. This is our team.
Right,
Aboué, I've seen enough from Aboué to start him.
Yeah, would he start on the left and Bloxham on the right then, presumably?
Yeah, Bloxham's got to be on the right for me.
Right, go for that.
Well, Aboué's not even on there. I'll have to hack him in.
Just to put Albie Morgan in for now. We know what you mean.
Yeah. Aboué on the left. Albie Morgan is Aboué, and we're starting with Ennis, I guess.
I think so.
Make sure you change that before you put it out on Twitter, John.
Yeah.
Okay. Any closing comments, gents?
I would just say it looks on paper a little bit more solid, if nothing else. Whether it's got the ability to do anything against Huddersfield remains to be seen, of course.
It's square pegs in square holes, isn't it? Which is an upgrade on what we've seen in the game so far. And like I say, you never know football, do you? You think we get carried away, don't we? And thought we've had 2 on paper, 2 relatively easy league games and a winnable cup game, and it hasn't happened. So we're probably all now thinking Saturday we're going to be on the wrong end of it. But you never know, do you? You never know. So I'm going to finish on a positive. It's not based on anything other than blind hope. But I'm going to go 2-1 to Poole.
Fucking hell.
2-1 to Huddersfield for me. Tim.
4-0 to Huddersfield.
Yeah, I'll halve that and go 2-0.
Matt, you did get the Port Vale predictions spot on in our new patrons predictions league.
Didn't I? Was I the only one? I must have been.
You were the only one.
Know. Right.
Yeah.
Well, I better put 2-0 down quick then.
Bison's has got 7-1. I don't know where we're getting the 1 from, Bison's.
OG.
I think you're actually second in the league there.
The 1-0's done it.
Yeah. If anyone doesn't know what we're on about, our Patreon supporters group now has its own predictions league that's been running monthly prizes. So if you want to sign up, patreon.com/Seasiders pod, join our Patreon program. Good laugh, £3 a month. Get access to our new pool predictions league. If anyone remembers that from back in the day, produced by yours truly, recoded it up and it's ready to go. Right, Nick, I'm afraid we're on 1 hour 10 minutes, so better press the outro music button. Don't want to incur your wrath any further. So thanks for joining us. I think it was cathartic to get all that off our back. Maybe that team will turn it around for us. Maybe it won't. But as always, thanks for watching. Thanks for downloading. What remains to be said is, come on.
Been involved in 2. Can he make 3? Not on this occasion. Well taken by Walsh. Davis is on the far side. Ainscough coming square. That's the ball. That's a good try. What a goal! Oh!